Well, that hit a nerve. This is the day after. I did a video on installing a Dynojet Power Vision 3 on my 21 Ultra yesterday, and I've been flooded with emails, questions about, I want to go stage 2, what should I do, which one should I get, what part should I go with, and I'm like, well, my stage 2 is just about lined out, the parts are about to be shipped, and I'll go into all that stuff later, but I wanted to do an auto tune with my Power Vision, and evidently that's a hot button, so let's get into that. So to rehash a little bit of this, I've used a lot of tuners over the years, going back to the old, you guys might remember the first original fuel pack. They had like 2 little digital screens on it, and you pressed a button to make the first number go up and down, and these 2 buttons to go, and you had to like find out the combination for your bike and put, it was a whole thing. There was a giant table of stuff you used, and of course it was never a perfect tune because these were very general fuel maps, for the bikes back then. Well, they've gotten better and better and better over the years, and I've used a Fuel Pack 3 for a long time, and evidently was wrong when I said it was the only one that was really sort of usable, for lack of a better word. Dynojet contacted me saying, that ain't the case, man. Like, not only do we have one that uses your phone now, like all the others, it's called the Power Vision 4. I really want to try one of those on that hair. Anyway, but they have the Power Vision 3, which you connect it to your computer and you download all these maps and then put it in there yourself and then upload it to your bike and da. And I did that yesterday. I put a PV3 on my 21 Ultra, and it already runs a billion times better than it did when I was using the Harley Black Street Tuner thing that not a fan of, but not their fault. It's got to be EPA. It's a whole other thing. So I put that on and put a base map on it, and I just got flooded with questions. So I guess people are really interested in Dynojet stuff, the Power Vision stuff, and how does it work. And today I was going to run the auto tune. So what that means is I have put, for lack of a better word, a base map in here. A map that basically is good for a stock, what my bike is, a 2021 Ultra Limited, twin cooled, so a wet head, has radiators, 114 motor with a 2-into-1, but it's a generic 2-into-1 sort of map. It's not just to mine. I have a Cobra 2-into-1 turnout, I'll show you in a second, which is a kind of unique, not common pipe. So it's not going to be right for it, right? We already know that. And my bike has RDRS, which is the Reflex Dynamic Rider Santa Claus setup. I don't know it, but it's the rain mode and all that stuff. So the map in the bike is for all that stuff. So what I'm going to do now is put my PV3 in auto tune mode. It's going to take that map, the one I'm currently using, and as I ride, it's going to have the ECM, the electronic control module, or there's ECM and BCM, electronic control module, and then BCM's body control module, the brain of the bike. It's going to put the brain of the bike into record mode, for lack of a better word, and as I ride, it's going to be reading the air-fuel mixture, the timing, a million other things that are way above my head, and record what it learns. And then when you get back, you can update the map you've been using with that more tweaked data that's perfect for your bike. So it's going to get better for my pipe, basically. I'll show you the pipe I'm talking about. So yeah, 2 seconds. So I'll show you real quick. This is the pipe I'm talking about. This is a Cobra 2-into-1, shorter pipe. It's not going to provide the same back pressure and sort of, I don't know, characteristics, for lack of a better word, as say like a 2-into-1 from D&D or a 2-into-1 from Vance & Hines or S&S or these others that, they come out and they run the full length of the bike with a giant muffler in the back. Those give lots of good back pressure, and if you're chasing numbers, those are the pipes you want. You want a full 2-into-1. This is sort of, for me, a compromise because I wanted that shorty turnout look. I wanted a no cutout rear end on the bike, so this is the pipe I chose. I bought this at Dennis Kirk. I can't remember what I paid for it. I got a hell of a deal on it. It was like, I don't know, $6.25 for a pipe that retails for $900 or something like that. But this is Cobra's 2-into-1 turnout. I like it a lot, but it is unique, meaning there's not going to be a lot of canned maps out there for it. So this running an auto tune is going to take the existing 2-into-1 map and make it right for this. So looking forward to that. So now let's go flip the Power Vision into auto tune mode. I am going to do my absolute best here to get the screen viewable on the camera. I hope this works. I'm sorry if it doesn't. So I'm flipping on the bike. Dynojet's booting up. Right now there's a map in there. It's already been basic tuned. Watch the other video if you want to see how to do that. But, so program vehicle. So this is what it comes up to the home screen. And there we go, that's better. Program vehicle. This says don't ride down the road while screwing with this thing or obscure your vision like an idiot. Except auto tune. Load tune is if you already had a base map you wanted to use or something like that. Quick tune is if you just want to tweak things yourself manually. Auto tune is when you want to put it into tuning mode, you know. So auto tune, enable auto tune, right? See all the choices there? Enable auto tune. We're picking what map it is that we want to sort of tweak. So these are two that I saved. So Red-Headed Stranger version 1. It's just one I downloaded off the Dynojet website. Now it's asking you, do you have no O2 sensors? Do you have basic / OEM narrowbands, meaning stock? Do you have a Pro/Dynojet AT2 wideband kit? Do you have a Target Tune wideband kit? No, these are stockers. Basic OEM narrowbands. Select. This will modify the tune for auto tune. So it's telling you that you're about to tweak an existing map. Continue. And it's going to start working. It has to load the existing tune map and then put the bike in sort of record mode. Then we're going to turn the bike off, turn it back on, and then it'll be in auto tune mode. And the whole time it's in auto tune mode, you may find the bike running a little weird. That's my experience from other tuners. It may run kind of bizarre and do some strange stuff. See, the gauge is turned on and off because it's messing with the ECM. So it's gonna run a little weird while it's doing all that record stuff. And then when you're done, you can flash that new data that it's gathered while you're writing to the map, and then lock up the ECM, put it back in place, and lock up is probably the wrong word. Put it back in service of sorts, and now the new data that you've got is going to make the table a little better. You can do this over and over and over again. I was reading about this all this morning. It's not a one-time deal. If you're going on a long distance journey, you should run it for a bit so that you can get good long distance journey data. Then if you're going to run her hard one day and you're going to just do that for a bit and get that sorted, so you can just keep auto tune save. You can do that stuff off and on when you've got the time to mess with it, which I think is pretty cool. So now turn the key off, so we're hitting OK. Now you see what's grayed out because auto tune is enabled. It's in auto tune mode. So turn the bike off. Turn it back on. I didn't wait 10 seconds, did I? Damn. I just realized I'm sure it's fine. It's all fine. This is fine. So this is like testing for Dynojet. See, this guy's an idiot. All right, so now program vehicle, accept, auto tune. And okay, we are in auto tune mode. So there we go. So average 0, we've learned nothing because I haven't done anything with it yet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off, shut the camera off, because I don't do ride videos. It's irritating, and how am I supposed to point a camera to screen while riding? I live in South Florida, I'll frickin' die. So I'm going to go for a ride, gather some data, then we'll come back and update the table. All right, just a couple seconds just so you can see what it's like. Switch to my phone real fast. So you can see it's reading right now. That little white box bounces around while it's reading. See? While it's doing that and getting measurements to save. So, all right. So I just went, I don't know, 60-ish miles or something like that in the loop. Advice if you're doing this. I've done this before, and this is what I've learned from previous times doing this. Find yourself a rural highway. A 2-laner where there's not going to be any cars on, that's fairly straight and has a higher speed limit. If you've got one of those, even travel to it if you need to. Travel to it with auto tune on, because the first thing I'll note is, because this thing is auto-tuning while running on a base map, meaning a map that has somewhat of a tune to it, it did not have that normal, the bike runs like crap thing. Because normally when a tuner's in auto-tune, every one I've used prior to this, it starts with like a 0 map thing, like there's no tune at all to it, and the bike just runs like hell, and it's very difficult. This one, this is my theory, someone correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like it was starting with the map that I had loaded and then tweaking that one, so it didn't run bad. It ran fine. I noticed that, I swear there's more crack to the exhaust now. I don't know. But and there definitely was less vibration on the highway. I will stick to that. I said it in my first video. So I went out to Highway 80 here, which is incredibly rural. No one's on it. Divided 4-lane, 70-mile-an-hour speed limit all the way to Clewiston. You can get on it and go. You can go to Orlando on that thing if you want to. Practically, actually over 27. Anyway, rural highways you can kind of do whatever. And was rolling 80. And I'm like, this is vibrating less. I'll stick to it. It was vibrating less going, you know, touring speeds. So then what you can and should do is, if you just want to do this in a pretty simple way, is ride the bike the way you ride it. If you're a touring guy, you know, ride around town where you live, intersections, you know, shopping centers you go to, rural highways, side roads, get on the interstate, and then vary your 60 to 80 mile an hour in 6th gear, you know, pass a truck, couple trucks, dig deep, if you know what I'm saying. You're in 6th gear going, say, 55, which is a little slow for 6th gear. But give her some throttle, dig deep, and let her dig out of that hole, you know, so you can go around the truck and stuff like that. Do all that sort, and it'll be reading the whole time and perfecting the air-fuel mixture while you're doing that. And I was watching, let me show you the screen real quick besides the little phone bit I took. So that is what I got. Is it complete? No, I mean, all these green squares are places I never got any data. But I think for about an hour's ride, that's not bad. I got, as you can see, it's easy to get the full throttle. I mean, when you're wide open. You know, what I was doing is in 5th and 6th, just slowing down to where the bike's almost bogging down in that like 1500 RPM range, and then just roll it all the way on and let her go all the way up to 80, 90 mile an hour, and then just let off the throttle and let her idle all the way back down to that, and then dig deep out again, and give you a good full throttle sort of measurement. Now you can see there, this is what you're looking at, I'm sorry, is on the side here is RPMs. So your first square I've got is, if you can see that, is pretty much idle at 1,000 RPMs. And it measures that with just the bike running. Your top line here is throttle position sensor. So 4%, 5%, 8%, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So these are the percentages of throttle all the way up to 100%. And these are the RPMs. So what I got here is good measurements all the way through the RPM range at wide open. Okay? The reason why I don't have a lot here is because that's just not where you typically are going to be in a ride. You're not typically going to be at 5% throttle at 4,500 RPMs. That's just not, you're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, picture the way you ride. You're not just very little throttle on and the bike screaming. You know, that's just not how it works. So what you should see is about like that. Can you do better? Of course. This was a single 60-mile pass. You could spend hours trying to get, what is it like at 90% throttle at 2,000 RPMs. Well, I just didn't do that. And you also need to ask yourself, do you care? It's like, do I care that my bike knows exactly to be tuned properly at 90% throttle at that? Because no, because what are you doing? You whack the throttle open typically, right? That's what you do. So what I've got there is a lot of good base data to update the map for the way I typically ride. I'll do more. The good thing what I like about this, you take this map, the Power Vision's going to update it with this data, and I can just ride. Or if I want to later on, if I feel like messing around with it, I can put it back into Auto-Tune. It'll take this data set, the updated stuff, and tweak it a little bit. So you can just keep doing it until you got it perfect. So then I'll save this map, name the Red-Headed Stranger. That's the stage 1 Red-Headed Stranger tune with this pipe and stuff. And then when I go stage 2 and put a cam in it, that'll be a whole other thing. I'll need some sort of base map. I'll get one from Power Vision, I'm sure. That'll give me a starting point, and then we'll take it to a dyno shop and let a professional who knows what the hell they're doing get on this thing and maximize. But we'll measure with a base map and a cam in it what kind of numbers I get out of this, and then we'll run it again and get the numbers after a tuner has, you know, the artists that know how to do it, know what they're doing, can spend some time getting maximum performance out of it. I'm not going to get big numbers out of this bike. I'm going to say that now, because of the direction I went with it and the pipe that I chose. That is sort of my weak link. It's a great pipe. I love that Cobra 2-in-1 turnout. It sounds fantastic and it looks good. This is a big old Mercury Grand Marquis touring bike. It is not a performance bagger. It's not going to be. I'm not a performance bagger enthusiast. I like a good sound and I like good low end. That's about it, right? This pipe is going to be the weak link because it's not full length. If this was a D&D or an S&S or a Vance & Hines, the Pro pipe, you know, one of those 2-in-1s that's full length, that's where you get most performance out of a pipe. I don't have that, and I'm not going to change to it. So I'm always going to be a couple horsepower and pounds of torque short of what it could be. There you go. There's your commercial for managing expectations. But anyway, let's apply these values now and see how that process goes, because I haven't done it yet. All right, so how we apply all this data is we're going to hit exit here. I had to check first because I wasn't sure. Exit, and then you can see what it's learned. So learned, this was session 2 because I was trying last night to figure out how to put it in there. Just a couple of drinks. Anyway, average sells -6%, maximum -15%. I don't know what that means, but it's just telling you the range that it did. Now, hang on, I got to do a quick commercial here because something that I learned this morning. So some of you real serious, like, you know, maximum numbers, like just chasing numbers all day in your bikes, are going to know right off the bat that when I did this earlier and put it into auto-tune mode, one of the things you saw me do was choose stock/OEM O2 sensors. And that right there is another weak link, my pipe, and then the stock O2 sensors. So what that is, and I dug into that because I wanted to know a little more about it, is that the O2 sensors, the oxygen sensors that are in your exhaust that measures the exhaust going on the bike, that's where it learns a lot of this stuff. It's sort of sniffing the exhaust to get how much fuel and air, how much should there be, right? The sensors that come from the factory, because they're a factory design meant for normal stuff, can only sniff a range of data about that big. They have, you know, so much. I'm not an expert, but there's so much that they can find in your exhaust. A wideband O2 sensor is a much wider band of data. So when it's sniffing your exhaust, it can do so many jokes. I know, it's terrible. And when it's sniffing your exhaust, it can do way more. It can just detect more and get a much better idea and a finer tune out of it. These are stock O2 sensors, are never going to be as good. So those data that just said -6, -15, those numbers will be quite a bit different with a wideband. It could be -20, 25, you know what I mean? Because it's just the wideband O2 sensor does a better job. I'm not going to do that yet right now. Will I in the future? I don't know. Maybe. You can get that from Dynojet. They have the wideband O2 sensors and auto-tune add-on kit and all that. So you can go all the way with this if you want to. But this is pretty basic tune. And maybe I'll do that when I get the cam in it. Maybe I'll do the widebands. But anyway, so that was just a quick thing I wanted to point out while we do this. All right, so we're back to this screen here, and I'm going to hit Export Learned. Bam. And it's going to say this will apply all learned values to the tune and save it to a custom tune slot. So imagine what it's going to do is it's going to take that Red-Headed Stranger #1 and make a new one, you know, that has that data plus the new one. I think it's going to, you know, sort of copy it and stuff. So, it says, so pick a slot. So I could overwrite that first one, I bet. I bet I could just replace it, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna put in slot 3 because it's empty. You can have up to 8 different tunes. So you could have one for, I want to be Billy Badass, I just want to get the best gas mileage, I want, you know, you can do all that stuff. So I'm choosing empty, so it'll take that, the data it got, plus it already had, and save it here. Is there anything we're done on that slot? It'll be, so it's warning you, if there's already something in there, it's going to replace it, but there isn't, it's empty. Okay. Results have been saved to slot 3, auto-tune results, Okay. So, disable auto-tune. We're leaving that. So I'm not gonna leave the bike in auto-tune mode now. It's gonna be, there you go, auto-tune not active. So now we're gonna go back. We're gonna load a tune, custom tunes, and we'll find the one that auto-tune results. There you go. That's the one we just made today, a whole new tune map. Select it, continue, flash, spring break, Mardi Gras, yada yada. And now it's gonna do that thing where the bike's gonna click a bunch and it's gonna say loading 10, 15, 20%, whatever. And then it'll tell me turn the bike off. So I'll turn the camera off so you're not sitting there watching, and we'll be back in a sec. All right, it's about done writing it. You're gonna hear clicking and on off. And then the Power Vision's gonna say, now turn your bike off for 10 seconds and turn it back on. And we'll do that, and then we're done. We now have a custom tune in there. So she should be ready to go. Again, unless I want to put it back in auto-tune and gather more data, but that'll be some other day. For right now, see, turn off and wait. Hit OK. Let me turn the bike off. All right, so we're done with that. She's tuned. I mean, I don't know. Now it's fine-tuned. Just like an athlete, like a precision instrument like me. So she's good to go. I almost feel like I owe Dynojet an apology because my videos before I'd said like, it's too complicated. This is freaking cool. I like this a lot. So And there's even a new one. I really hope to try that Power Vision 4 on the Heritage. Maybe I end up buying one of them down the road. After we put the cam in it, we'll tune it. Maybe that'd be cool. Maybe after we tune it and fine tune it and get it just right, maybe then I'll buy the wideband sensors, add those, tune it again, and see what kind of difference we get there. I don't know. Maybe I'll change the exhaust eventually. Who the frig knows what I'm gonna do? But, because I don't. There you go. So I'll put the link down below if you're interested in the Power Vision. I am an affiliate, so use my link if you don't mind. It does something evidently. I don't understand all this influencer stuff. But ask questions, hit the thumbs up, means the world to me. If you're not a subscriber, please hit subscribe. We do this kind of stuff all the time, as well as motorcycle rallies and stuff. So if you like that stuff, you should be a part of it. I don't know. So we'll talk again real soon. Take care of each other. Bye.